I'm going to preview the Baylor versus number 23 Utah Winds basketball game, which will be played literally tomorrow on January 14th at 7 p.m. Central Time on espnplus. Of course, it'll be live stats as well. And I'm going to make mention the overall record and the conference records for both of these teams real fast. And I apologize if I'm looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. Utah is 13-3 on the year, 4-1 in the Big 12. Baylor's 14-3 on the year, 4-1 in the Big 12. So thus, it is a huge game for the conference standings. Of course, this also for the Big 12. This, of course, implicates the NCAA tournament down the line as well. And Baylor will definitely be without Darian Page Buggs. She will be suspended. Even though she defended herself in a incident with the Arizona State player Kennedy Fauntleroy. And Kennedy Fauntleroy did more in that situation when you look at it. And that's just sickening. And there is no appeals process, which I am a little surprised, just to be honest. And obviously, if you get involved again, you're suspended for the rest of the year for fighting. So that is a message for both of these players suspended here. Of course, the two Arizona State players, but that's besides the point. I mean, the two others, and Heavenly Greer and Jaya Lovett, besides Kennedy Fauntleroy. So, just going to make mention. I honestly think the officiating let it go too far in that situation. And I'm going to call out those certain individuals. And it's not like me to call them out. But they deserve to be called out. Because they were elite officials. Elite officials do not let the game go too far. And those officials are Michael Price, Maj Forsberg, Forsberg, and Tiara Cruz. It just stuns me that quote elite officials let the game go too far in that situation. They should have called something before that incident occurred, and y'all can check it out. Okay, enough of that. Right there. And now, what are some players to keep an eye on for Utah? And Utah does have one player that's questionable with a high ankle sprain. You'll know who it is, and I'll put the stats in the description below so y'all can see it. Okay, the first player to make mention is Gianna Neepkins, number 5, 6-foot guard. That's a junior. 16.9 points per game. 44 for 100 on threes. 93.7% on free throws on 63 attempts. 44.5 rebounds per game. 2.8 assists per game. 1.9 turnovers per game. 1.1 steals per game. And 2 fouls per game. And I do think those officials from the last game need to learn their lesson. Okay. I just want to make that's what I believe they need to do. They need to learn their lesson from that game and don't let it happen again. Okay, back on track here. Maya Torre is the best forward on the team. Number 21, 6'3" forward. That's a senior. 13.8 points per game. 36.1% on threes on 36 attempts. She did make 4 against Iowa State, so you got to make sure you get on her on threes at time. Threes. 71.1% on free throws on 45 attempts. 6.3 rebounds per game. 1.9 turnovers per game. 0.8 steals per game. 1.2 blocks per game. 1.9 fouls per game. And a player that's questionable with a high ankle sprain that literally suffered that injury a week from yesterday against Iowa State in the win is Kenny McQueen. And we'll see if she plays or not. But I would... if you're Baylor going into this game, I just assume she's going to play. I'm just saying it because you cannot rely on them not playing her, and there's no conference-wide injury report type of deal here. Number 24 or 5'10" guard, that's a senior. And I'm going to go ahead and mention the stats, even though she is questionable. 11.2 points per game, 33 for 77 on threes, which is 42.9%. Made all 8 free throws. 3.6 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 1 turnover per game, 0.9 steals per game, 1.2 fouls per game. There's Madison Wilk, number 23, 5'10" guard. That's a junior. 9.3 points per game, 40.6% on threes on 64 attempts. Made all 13 free throws. 2.3 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game, 1.2 turnovers per game, 0.9 steals per game, 1.5 fouls per game. Reese Ross, number 20, 6'1" forward. That's a sophomore. 8.8 points per game, 39.1% on threes on 23 attempts. 65.4% on free throws on 52 attempts, 6.1 rebounds per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1.2 steals per game, 2.6 fouls per game. Jenna Johnson, number 22, 6'2" forward, that's a senior, 8.3 points per game, 22.2% on threes on 45 attempts, and 54.5% on free throws on 22 attempts. 3.9 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 2.1 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game. There's Inez Vieira, number 2, 5'6" guard. That's a senior. 6.1 points per game, 27.8% on threes on 36 attempts, 73.9% on free throws on 23 attempts, 2.9 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game, 2.4 turnovers per game, 1.8 steals per game, 2.1 fouls per game. And there's Samantha Crisp, number 44, 6'2" forward. That's a junior. 2.8 points per game, 2 for 8 on threes, 12 for 16 on free throws, 2.1 rebounds per game, 1 turnover per game, 1.5 fouls per game. And now I'm going to really mention one more player, and that's Brooke Walker, number 3, 5'9" guard. That's a freshman. 2.3 points per game, 28.6% on threes on 14 attempts. Made all 5 free throws, 0.9 on turnovers per game, and 0.7 fouls per game. And across the board, whatever you did right last game, you got to bring into this game. Whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct. Especially against the press. I mean, from the opposing team. I mean, that's just telling the truth. And of course, you got to keep your cool and everything. And because you saw what happened last game against Arizona State on that incident. Let's not have that incident here, please. I don't care if the officiating is questionable. You got to make plays to win and just ignore the rest. And don't instigate a fight. And I'm sure they know that. But I'm just making mention of that. You got to hustle to the other team. It's next player up mentality with no Darion Little Page Bugs, even though I think it's a bunch of junk. That there is no appeals process or the officiating needs to be held accountable for all this. But that's just me. Try to think. Obviously, you want to limit your foul trouble. Now you definitely need to limit your foul trouble a little bit. And there's going to be, obviously, like a change in the starting lineup for Baylor, at least in this game. Utah, it's a possibility with Kenny McQueen, just being honest, you know. It's a possibility. So, we'll see. You got to make adjustments on the fly, not just from first half to second half, but quarter to quarter, possession by possession, timeout to timeout. I mean, both offensively and defensively. Now, defensively, you need to get them uncomfortable and chase those three-point shooters and make them take long twos. I'm not saying give them layups, like wide open layups, but still. And obviously getting some like offensive fouls like on them with like and causing turnovers, create havoc for them, blocking shots at times. Of course, you got to be smart with the fouling, I know. Reading those passing lanes. You got to out-rebound, get some rebounds, and you got to step up in the rebound category every single one of these players without doing all the page bugs in the game. And just being brutally honest. I mean, you got to limit the second chance points. You got to limit the points in the paint. Of course, three-point line, you don't want to let them live at the free throw line either. I mean, and you got to limit the points off turnovers as well. I mean, And another thing across the board, if you have a lead, protect the lead better. Especially if you have a bigger lead, don't let the opponent come back in it a little bit. I'm just saying. So now, and obviously on offense, you want to limit your turnovers, and sometimes your best offense comes from your defense. So get as many points as turnovers as much as possible. Of course, get some points in pain, whether it's a drive or a dump down low. A pass down low to Aaron Evalne or somebody else, but you get the whole point. Of course, guy try to get to the free throw line and make your free throws count. Have good shot selection. Take care of the ball. You gotta be good in those. And another thing across the board, you gotta be good in late game situations, both offensively and defensively. It's just telling the truth. Especially when you might need a foul quickly, or the other team does, just to try to get the ball back as soon as possible. You gotta get some second chance points, like rebounding. Yeah, it kind of goes like and get some fast break points as well, because that sometimes is the easiest time to score. And I'm going to just say, some names out there that need to step up, and I'm not going to mention every player on the team by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, you need your bench players to step up. Now, we'll see who's going to start in place of Darren Page Bugs. I think Belafonte might move to the 4 position. The 4 position alongside with Aaron Vonley at the 5, as in the center. It's more like who's going to start at the 3. Yaya Felder? Or is it going to be Leo Mataru? I think it's going to be Yaya, though. But we'll see. That's one of those things we got to wait and see. Obviously, Aaron Vonley does need to step up in this game right here. That's just telling the truth, and you gotta pass the ball really well down to her, and let her take. And hopefully, Belafonte plays better than last game, and she definitely needs to, because when you're down one starter, Jay Walker needs to step up as well. Sarah Andrews, hopefully she's getting better, and she made 4 out of 6 on threes last game. That's helpful. So if she could play that good or a little bit better, that would really be helpful. Obviously, Yaya Felder needs to step up. Aaliyah Mataru, she had a really good game. 14 points on 6 for 10 shooting, 2 for 3 on threes, 4 rebounds, and 1 turnover. And even that Arizona game, in a little bit of time, she made a 3 and got a block. So she definitely needs to step up. Same thing goes for Wise Jennings in case she does play, which I think they're going to have to use her a little bit. With no Darren Little Page Bugs, and just do her role. Same thing goes for Kyle Abraham and Madison Bartley. So I'm just saying. And when you get that close to the bat, and you got to finish through contact. And you got to, because you cannot rely on calls happening all the time. Even though, by the letter of law, it can be a foul. You can't rely on it. That's why I'm saying you got to make plays to win. And forget the officiating. So, that's really all I got to say about this game. And this is a huge game for both of these teams in terms of the conference race. And for NCAA tournament seeding down the line, which I know it's so early to talk about that, but it is a quality opportunity, and Baylor is receiving 8 votes, by the way. Even though Utah is ranked, I don't know how come they are ranked. They lost at Kansas State pretty bad, and I know they defeated Houston, but Houston's terrible. I would have thought maybe like 24 or 25 at best, but this is a first test for Baylor women's basketball in terms of a ranked opponent here, and this would really help yourself to get some respect back. In terms of not just receiving votes, but potentially being ranked again. So, and in order to think about winning the conference or being in the top four in the conference, you've got to win your home games. You've got to win it more than Utah does. And you can't be intimidated by them. But at the same time, you got to be careful because you do not want to be in that situation like you were in that Arizona State game with that incident. So that's all I got to say. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 7 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal. It's 1,000 more, some more money out there. Of course, like a video. Comment video really helps YouTube algorithms, more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people can watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. And hopefully these refs don't let the game go too far before an incident like that happened again. And I don't want them to be like call ticky tack stuff all the time, but at the same time, you can't let so much stuff go that it instigates a situation. I mean, it needs to be consistent on both ends of the floor. So, okay, enough about that, or about this game right here. Let's go out there, get our best shot.